Hello, so I'm Allie from BPD in the TARDIS, which is probably obvious considering this where I'm going to be posting this from anyway. So, as I'm sure most of you that follow me know, and even for those of you that don't, May is Borderline Personality Awareness Month. I was just diagnosed with borderline personality disorder about 3 weeks ago. So, yeah. I wanted to do the challenge just as a way of kind of like involving myself in the community. So, yeah, I'm going to stop rambling now. There are two different ones that I found. There's the main one that was posted, and then a few days later there was another one that was added that's kind of more positive based. So when I did day one, I hadn't found the other one yet, so I only did that one, and then I have missed days 2 and 3, and it's the fourth. Yay Star Wars for any of Star Wars fans. I've never seen it, but my dad's like obsessed with it. So I will do day 1 of the second challenge as well as days 2, 3, and 4 for both of them. If you're still with me, I'm sorry, I ramble a lot. So day 1 of the second one is please take some time to introduce yourself, share any information about yourself you'd like to, which I guess is kind of what I just did. So yeah, hi, again, Allie. I'm a music major. I play the piano. I am one final to go before being done with my first semester back to college after taking a medical psychological withdrawal in the spring of last year. I am not going to pass all of my classes, but that's okay. I really love my major. I just switched to music this semester after coming back. I was a technical theater major beforehand, and I still love theater. I just really need a stable job afterwards, and as much as I do love theater, it's not consistently reliable as far as work goes. So I want to be a music educator and eventually would love to go and get a master's in music therapy and do that as well. So there's that. Day 2 of the first challenge is why did your last friendship end? A bunch of my friendships faded away when I changed majors. And not for anything that anyone did wrong. It just, theater is a very intensive major and you don't really have much time for a life outside of it. And so the people in your major kind of become your family and your friends, and they're who you see, they're who you talk to, because you have all of your classes together and you're doing shows together and you see each other all the time. So when I left that major, it's not that anything happened between us. It's more of just, music is also a very intensive major. You know, you're always practicing, or music theory, or practicing. It's like this semester I have piano lessons because it's my major instrument, but I also had a woodwinds method class that taught me to play the clarinet and taught me to play the flute. I was a flute player in high school, so yay, band nerds. So yeah, it was more just we grew apart because we never see each other. I mean, I'll occasionally see them in the hallway and it's a quick, hey, how are you doing? You know, how's your semester going? But we don't hang out anymore, and we definitely don't see each other every day. And like, I don't text them or talk to them anymore outside of the occasional pass in the hallway. Day 2 of the second one was when did you first begin to be aware of your BPD? How did you feel then versus now? I mean, I've dealt with these symptoms since I was 13 or 14. You know, the mood swings, the really depressive moments, impulsivity, the need for validation, and unstable relationships. Um, it's kind of always been a part of my life for as long as I can remember, but I wasn't aware of what borderline personality disorder was until about a year ago, and I just never looked enough into it to see, what it really was or anything like that. So, I was aware it existed, but I didn't really know anything about it. I just thought that I was really depressed, and I honestly thought that, like, the mood swings and the need for relationships and being clingy was just part of my personality. I knew the depression was an issue because of some things that had happened last year that led to me taking the psych withdrawal, but I just thought, like, I was depressed and I needed to be on antidepressants, and that was that. What was the second part of this question? How do you feel then versus now? It's really reassuring to know that, like, I'm not just this obsessive, impulsive, hypochondriac person, and that, there's a reason for why I interpret things the way that I do, and a reason, for everything. And so that's reassuring. I'm still kind of coming to terms with the diagnosis, but that's why I've been trying to talk to other people with it that have, have been aware of it and have been diagnosed for a while, just to try and figure out what it all means. And, like, I'm still finding things that fit into the diagnosis that I had always just thought were, like, normal things that people dealt with. So, yeah, I think that answered the question. I also have ADHD, so I apologize. Question 3 of the first one. Okay, so this question can potentially be triggering, so I'm actually going to go ahead and do question 3 of the positive one first. Actually, I'll go ahead and I'll do question 3 and 4 of the positive one, and then I'll let you guys know before I go back to the first one, so that if anyone is triggered by anything, they can stop watching. So day 3 of the positive one. Do you have any consistent coping habits? What are they, and what do they help with? So, I do have some consistent coping habits. I like to knit, which, when I'm in a really bad place, can give me something to do with my hands, and it's something productive, and I can see it, and I can see it growing, and it's something that kind of grounds me by having something to do with my hands. But it's also something that, like, I can also distract myself with, like, Netflix, because I know how to knit well enough that if I need something really consuming, like, I'll look up a pattern that I have to follow and have to pay attention to. But if I just need something to do with my hands so that I'm not doing nothing, like, I'll knit or crochet while I watch Netflix. Netflix is a really big coping thing that I do. I do have depression on top of having borderline personality disorder. And there are days that I just don't have the energy to get out of bed, and I don't have the will or the fight in me to get up. And so those days I tend to I watch Netflix. I allow myself to have a day, and to just take a day to myself to, relax and calm down and take a break from everything that's going on. Which generally leads me to being more stressed out later, because then I'm behind in things. But some days you have to put your mental health first, and some days you have to take a step back from everything because you just can't. Music is a big coping thing for me. I play the guitar, I play the flute, I play the piano, and I am in choir. I'm a soprano 1. I'm sorry I kill your ears. it's part of why I want to do music therapy. It's always helped me. It's I don't know. Music touches a part of my soul that I haven't found anything else that does. So yeah. I think that's it. So day 4, related to your BPD or otherwise, what is an interesting quirk or trait you have? So I don't like bread. Like, I don't eat hamburgers with bread. I just eat the patty. Same with hot dogs and like sandwiches. Like, I'll just eat the sandwich meat or cheese or filling or whatever it is out of it. And like, I'll occasionally eat bread, but for the most part, I don't eat bread. I think it tastes weird. I know I have other quirks. I'm a very quirky person, but for whatever reason, I can't think of them right now. So yeah. So going back to the first list, if any of you are triggered by self-harm or suicide, I do advise that you stop watching this video now, because that's what the next 2 questions are related to, and I don't want to upset anybody. So please, if this is something that's going to trigger you, stop watching, put yourself first. I promise it's okay to do that. I know that's something that's very hard for some people to realize, so do what you need to do to be okay. So day 3, do you self-harm? If yes, how? I do. That is a battle that I am still currently dealing with. I'm a little over a week clean. My boyfriend, Chase, helps a lot with that. He's someone that I can talk to about it when I'm down, and that's what I feel like I need to turn to. My queer platonic partner, Sam, is also really, really helpful with that. She's fabulous. I love her to death. I've known her for, oh God, I'm probably going to get this wrong, almost 3 years now? Yeah, I think. She's so much, I'm terrible with time and like time orientation. She's so much better with this. So Sam, you should totally tell me if I'm wrong. I'm sorry. I love you. What was the question? Oh, self-harm. Yes. But as far as methods of self-harm, I tend to turn to cutting, which is something that like I said, I'm really, really trying to work hard on not turning to that, and I'm finding other coping mechanisms and better ways to deal with things. So yeah. And day 4 is, have you ever attempted suicide? Yes, I have a few times. I was actually hospitalized. Well, I wasn't hospitalized as in like admitted to the hospital, but I was forcibly taken by the cops from my dorm room to the hospital because I told a friend of mine that I was suicidal, and she called the National Suicide Hotline on me and gave them my address and my phone number and told them that I was suicidal. And they called me, and I didn't recognize the number. I just answered, said hello. Someone said, hi, this is so-and-so from the National Suicide Hotline, and I hung up the phone. And about 10 minutes later, there were cops at my door. I had a breakdown, started randomly crying, and was escorted to the hospital in the back of a cop car. So, yeah, that was not a fun experience. I'm still paying for the hospital bill. I see people getting in debates all the time about whether or not you should call on a friend that's suicidal, and as someone who went through it, there are pros and cons to it. I got forced into therapy because of it. I was on campus, and part of their rule is that you go into the self-harm protocol, which at my school requires, I think 4 or 5 sessions. I ended up doing the med psych withdrawal right after my last session, at the encouragement of my counselor. So I don't remember exactly how many times I went, but there's a set number of sessions that you have to go to, and they pair you with a counselor. My first week after I went home, the night that they took me, it was the next day. I had 3 different therapy sessions. I had a therapy session with the director of counseling, who then placed me with my counselor, and I had a therapy session with my counselor, and then I had a meeting with the school psychiatrist, which was when I was officially diagnosed with depression, which this year that diagnosis changed to dysthymia, which is chronic depression, because I've been depressed since as long as I can remember. And I don't know if that diagnosis is exactly correct, because with dysthymia, generally there are no happy moments. But I do have moments where I'm happy and I'm not depressed and everything seems okay. But just because of the general length of how long I've been battling chronic depression, my therapist named it dysthymia, or diagnosed it as dysthymia. And so when I saw the school psychiatrist, she put me on Lexapro for anxiety and depression. Personally, that drug did not work for me. I didn't like it. It almost turned me into a zombie, and that's not how I want to live my life. Where was I going with that? So yes, long story short, I have attempted suicide multiple times. That was the only time I ever got sent anywhere or anything. I won't go into detail about how attempts were made, just because that's personal, for one, and for two, I don't want to trigger anyone that may still be watching this video. But yeah, so that's days half 1 through 4. Thank you for sticking around and watching this. I will be trying to put these out every day, and hopefully you'll learn a little bit more about me and a little bit more about how BPD can affect different people, as you potentially will see other people doing this challenge as well. So thank you, and I hope that you all have a wonderful day.